Are we live? All right. Good to hear. How is everyone doing, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, when I smile, I don't know, this big tooth right here, it's like it squeaks, right? So it's fucking annoying. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. I apologize. Or if you didn't notice it, now you do. Now you know. So anyway, I'm just really excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you all tonight. And really, I kind of look like a hippie with this beanie on. Let me take it off here. Hold on. Just give me a second to clean up here. Wasn't really planning on doing a talk, but wow, that looks really good now. Looks great. So anyway, I'm just really happy to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight because ultimately what I want to get into is some of like the core spiritual teachings and understandings, and what it really comes down to, ladies and gentlemen, is basically understanding a few spiritual truths, and then just by understanding those truths, you have drastically altered the mindset, which is the software of the mind, and you automatically change your state of being. Because if it all breaks down, your state of being is how you respond, is where you respond from. And if you're going to respond how you want to respond, not, well, react. Because when we react, we do what? We usually do things we probably shouldn't do, like freak out on somebody. Like if you get in a fight with your best buddy and you guys, even if you lose and get beat up or you beat him up, it's like a lose because I don't know. I mean, it depends how close you guys are. I've gotten in a fight with some really good friends and we were better friends after. I guess it takes this thing called discernment. And that's my favorite word because it's like when it really breaks it down, discernment. What is discernment? Discernment is like, I guess, clear judgment, right? Like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this because of this reason, and I'm not gonna generalize and always do it, right? It's kind of like the thing when it comes to wearing a mask. Now you wear a mask. What does that actually do for you? Better. Okay, yeah, the camera's kind of unfocusing. But so like wearing a mask, you got to think, okay, use discernment on when is a good time to wear that mask. When you're going to a restaurant and obviously being around food, you wear the mask, right? And you're in a small space, you're going to wear a mask. But like if you're out hiking and it's just you and one other person and you're going to like cross paths with people, as long as you guys stay 6 feet apart, or if you can't, I guess on some trails, but you're out in the like wide open air, right? Like I've never had problems. I don't really ever get sick because I balance all the systems in my body. I'm super particular about my health, about my energy, and how can I actually keep that balanced. And so me, I'm going to take a lot of preventive, right? And so just, I don't want to get off track though. Continuing on, really, it's just these few fundamental spiritual understandings that if you understood these and you lived these, you applied these, this is the result, right? It's like one of them being the natural laws of the universe. What is absolute reality? How does the universe actually work? How do I manifest things into my life that I actually want? Not the things I don't want to manifest, but how can I manifest the things that I want and work towards just a better life, like every day, right? How can I do that? And so, let me adjust this real quick. I feel like I'm like not centered. Okay. And so really, understanding that, and then moving on, understanding, just ask yourself this, do you think we all come from the same source? I mean, do you think, how could there really be more than one? Everything comes from the same source. Everything's connected. And that makes so much sense to me. If you look at religion and you study all of it and you look at the bigger picture, what do you usually find? You find linking information, connections that spread out everywhere. Like, look at the teachings that have gone on over the centuries, over and over again, and they all link together. There's all tying pieces of information, and it's like a lot of it's getting distorted and twisted by beliefs of the person who transcribed it or the translator themselves, because every time you translate something, you can lose parts of the meaning of that. I mean, look at just go take any language, write something out, and then try and write it in English. If you're, you can speak more than one language, you understand this the most, because there's certain words that there is no words in the other language for. So it's like, how do you explain that? And people get stuck on the words and not what the actual message is. Sometimes it's taken quite literally, and it probably shouldn't be. For example, a lot of people who are very religious, that they may think, I gotta let God do it for me. I gotta wait for God, right? And they don't understand that if they're from the same source, then there's really only one of us. And if you damage another, and if there's only one of us, you're damaging yourself. And understanding that's what damage to self is. And we must have wanted it for this long. We must have wanted to experience what damage to self was. But now we're at a stage in evolution as a human species where we can actually eliminate this from our makeup. Stop damaging self. We don't have to experience that anymore. We already have. Now we're getting to a pivotal point in this time, this space, this timeline, if you will, however you think of time. We're not going to go into that right now. We'll talk about time later. But wherever you're at in this space is absolutely where you're supposed to be. And that's the beautiful thing of this divine plan, if you will. It's called many different things in many different religions, but it's like the mastermind, and that's universal, right? Like if you understand absolute reality, God is all things, not just something or someone. God is not some male figure who throws lightning bolts. I'm sorry. I mean, he could be. If you think that's real, then that's real for you. But I'm talking about absolute reality. And that's a universal concept, a spiritual understanding. If you understood absolute reality, you would understand how to make the universe work for you and not work against the universe and manifest the things that you don't really want. Don't you want to manifest what you want? What do you want? What do you desire? Now understand this, it's already within you, everything you want, desire, or could ever possibly hope for. And that by realizing that, you can then manifest anything you want in this existence because you know it will come. If you want money, abundance mindset, slip into that. You want relationships, lovable mindset, slip into that. Loving and lovable, how can you be that? And you will be attractive. People will want to be around your energy. You will fire them up. Yeah. Or you can be boring. And, we don't pay for boring around here. We don't pay for average. Come on, folks. Average? What is average? I like to look at myself when I talk just to see my expressions and how dumb they look, right? But on the real, spiritual understanding, just understanding these simple truths, what can this do for you? If you understood that we came from one source, that's one of them. If you understood how the universe actually worked so you could manifest accordingly. Let's talk about that for a second. If you want to manifest accordingly, I think Dwayne Howard, Dr. Dwayne Howard, I believe that's his name. I'll have to fact check that. Don't quote me. Wayne Dyer. Wow. Okay, Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you guys haven't seen his stuff, he teaches spiritual understandings so simply, right? And he calls it, what does he call it? Infinite intelligence is what he calls it. And he says simply this, right? Well, no, not infinite intelligence. Manifestation. Oh my gosh, I gotta read that again. I know it, dang it. Okay. It's not infinite intelligence. It is, it's coming to me. It's been a while since I thought about it. Instant. Oh my gosh. Infinite patience. I knew it would come. So infinite patience is basically how you manifest, right? How, it doesn't even make sense. It's like an opposite, infinite and patience. How do those even go together? And it's like this, right? Understand that whatever you want to manifest, you absolutely can, whatever it is. Obviously, there's natural laws, there's universal and absolute reality laws, but you can manifest anything you want. It may just not come in the perfect order or the time that you want it, but understand that if you just believe and know without a shadow of a doubt, you're just like, dude, in 2 years, for me, it's in 1 freaking year, StarTech will go from a 6-figure company to a 7-figure company. In 1 year, you're like, how is that even possible? Well, I've been building my foundation for 9, right? Well, 8 starting 9. And so it's like, this is easy, right? Now it's making sense. Expand operations, get the work lined up, the relationships built with your clientele, and then launch your team. And then from there, get rid of all your jobs and build a company based on magnificent leadership, on big business mentality, to where we can then sell the company and create an exit strategy and get all this capital up front. And now you have a bigger pot. And then your money can work for you, and then you can build another business, whatever. We're not going to go into that. It's like way off topic. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Gosh dang it. Let me get back on topic. And just a few more spiritual understandings. So like, holy cow, like I don't even know where we were going. Like, see, this could get crazy. Let's stay on topic. Come on, weed bush. And so, just a few more spiritual understandings. Now, and so a few more would just be like simple things. Like you may think of it as common knowledge. And that is, the more value I add to myself, the more valuable I then become. And the more value I then have to add to others. It's pretty good. The more value I add to myself, the more valuable I become, and the more value I add to others. Now, this simple teaching or truth, if you will, for me was huge, because that's how I built my entire company. Was like, hey, I'm going to add so much value to people. I'm not going to charge them to fix things that don't get fixed. That's how I do it. So I only charge for results, right? Like if I can't get you results, I'm not going to bill you. By doing this, I create what Tony Robbins would call raging fans for a clientele base, because I serve them. I add value to myself. I become more valuable, and then I can add more value to them. And you know what's good? Every stinking year, I get even better than the year before. Yes, that is awesome. That's fucking awesome, if you will. This is my video, so I'm gonna put some emphasis on that. You can add so much value to people that people just want to shower you with money. It's true. That's how I'm doing it. And that's how every single badass entrepreneur that's gone before me has done it too. You see, I didn't learn what I learned, all these spiritual truths. I did not learn by sitting there. I learned it by getting out there and creating relationships with people and meeting so many people, developing great relationships and getting mentored by really successful people. People are making 100 grand a month. People that are making $1 million a month. People that made so much money in the banking and commercial industry. Some of the biggest entrepreneurs in all of North America, you know, he just made it big in banking, and by 27, he had so much money in the bank, hundreds of millions, that he didn't have to work ever again. if you didn't want to. And so these are the people that mentor me. I'm not that amazing. Those people are. The only reason I have these results is because of them. See, everybody understands this in sports, but when it comes to actually real life, where they're like, hey, I could be making multi-millions, or if that's not for you, if you want to make tens of thousands, or maybe hundreds of thousands, you know, at least a year. Like, come on, anybody, like, you know, 80% of the population makes less than 60K a year. Like, that's insanity to me. I would not settle when there's so much more, but it's okay. It depends on what's good for you. How much money do you want to make? Like, I know some really happy people that make 100K a year. Like, they're like totally fascinated, like with kicking it with each other and sharing these amazing moments, creating everlasting memories. And that works for them. So if that works for them, oh well, that's cool. I like Gary Vee. If anybody ever listened to Gary Vee, he is a total badass. Gary Vee is so good. What he talks about is just like, man, marketing and shit. Like, basically he's like a marketing genius, right? He finds out exactly what's going on the web, like what is going on Facebook, and he like totally blasts this shit into marketing, and he just fucking kills it. He's such a badass. Gary Vee, check him out. And it's like spiritual understandings, like that guy gets it, right? Like, he gets it all. He talks about how much shit you have to eat. The bigger you get, the more money you make, the more people are going to try and come after you, sue you, take that money. They're going to try and like get you. Okay. And I'm almost there. So it's like, I feel that, right? Like, the more responsibility I believe you have to do something great with that money. And there's so many people out there who are not doing anything fucking great with their money, but spending it on them goddamn selves, which that's cool. But I think there's so much cooler shit you can do. Like creating, if you're so good with financials to where you can take your money, quadruple it, multiply it. That's what really wealthy people do. Like, they make money work for them. That's another spiritual teaching. Make money work for you. Don't work for money. Money is a tool. Why are we working for money? What the happened? Our society is jacked. Like, who wants to work for money? You're like renting your life. The bank owns it. The hospitals own it. Take back control of your life. Go debt free. Like, that is magnificence right there. The more debt you have, the more stress you have. But that's a whole nother talk. We're not going to go into that. But just understanding, what is your model of money? If you want abundance mindset, you have to take care of that. Once you take care of that, shit, making money's easy. And I tell myself that every single day. Money just floats in my bank account by the truckloads. Like, I don't even know how it gets there. Like, oh man, I forgot about that job. Look at all that money that just came from that job. Blessed. Love that. Just so grateful. And that's another spiritual understanding right there. Gratefulness. Think about what you want. That house, the dream house, right? That ideal partner. Think about that. Like, what is that exactly? And then, how would you feel if you possessed that right now, in this moment? How would you feel? Now, feel that way now. And how do you do that? You're grateful. I know that's how it works for me. I am just so freaking grateful for the abundance in my life. I'm so grateful for the amount of money that's in my bank account. Like, it just keeps growing. I'm like, oh my God, like, stop. Not really, but you get my point. I live in this state of mind of like, oh my God, don't worry, it comes back. It's a tool, and it just grows. If you follow simple principles like putting 10% away into a pot, and that pot never gets spent. Not even its children's children get spent. Meaning that money, its only purpose for that money is to make money. I mean, it could even be bigger, right? 15, 20%, but you never touch that pot. That's your capital. That's what makes you billions or millions if you want, or hundreds of thousands if that's all you really want. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to manifest anything, I think you should manifest a billion, right? Like, why wouldn't you want a billion? Like, that's like a really good place to go. That should be like your goal. And then you hit a million, shit. Well, you didn't fall too far. I mean, obviously that's a huge cap. But eventually you'll find people that are making hundreds of millions. You'll develop relationships with those people. Those people will take you under their wing because of the law of attraction. And based on that law, you will grow because of those people. And then you will be doing what they do. You will think the way they do. The mindset that they have will then impose upon you psychically, spiritually, like just emotionally being around that person. The exchange of energy, nobody really gets it. Like, they don't see everything that's going on, the exchange of energy. So they don't really know why that person makes them feel the way they feel. They're like, I don't get it. Like, every time I'm around that person, I just don't feel good. And it's because they're not aware of all that's taking place. They can't feel that exchange of energy. They don't have the spiritual understandings that we're talking about today. And so really they don't have like this broader expansive consciousness. And that's what I like to use the term expansion, because it's not like they don't have access to it, because they're connected to the same source that I am. They have the same potential to access this source. They have the same potential to do whatever it takes to just explode and do something absolutely amazing. They have that potential. But if the software of the mind, if the mindset's broken, what can we really do, right? Like, if you're not taught any of this stuff, I didn't learn any of this stuff until I was older, right? I imagine if I would have known this when I was younger, how much further ahead I could be now. I would already be there. And that's what you need to understand, is you're already there. If you think it's a place to get to, then it's not life. That is not. What is that? A place to get to? Like, you're living your life for the moment. Don't live your life for the moment. Live in the moment and always work towards a better one. It's really that simple. That's all I do. And that's what a lot of really successful entrepreneurs do. Successful leaders, people who are leading organizations or leading people in general. What exactly are you doing? What is your being? What is your character? Because your reputation is a shadow of that character. What people think of you is absolutely not important, but at the same time, it is important. You can't let it affect who you are and who you're going to be. You get to choose that, but you can affect basically everything if you really think about it, because it's all based on your being. You are in charge of how people treat you based on how you act to them. It's like the natural laws of reaction. And then I like Steve Jobs, one of my favorite, and we're going to close up here. Steve Jobs, one of my favorite, man, he is a total badass, entrepreneurs, right? He called it the reality distortion field, able to actually create in this field and obviously manifest things that didn't exist, right? I want this phone and I don't want any buttons on it. And all of his engineers looked at him and said, you're crazy. Because all that existed up in that point were phones with buttons and like a little tiny screen. You remember the little Nokias? How old is everybody in here? Like, come on. You remember the little Nokias? It's like, goddamn. Yeah, I don't want any buttons. Take them all off. And now it's like, I don't want anything. I just want a screen. And now look at what we got. Because of innovation, creation, pulling from this ether, if you will, collective source. There's so many different names for it. You know, and then we go into God and people make him out to some male figure, Zeus, right? He shoots down bolts and he's all yoked out. That is not God. God is source. God is everywhere. So therefore, how can he be somewhere? Just a few spiritual understandings, like he is everything and everyone. He is the matter within us. All matter is living. Nothing ever dies. It only changes form. Energy, we are made of energy. Nothing ever dies. It just changes form. Shit. That's like a crazy spiritual understanding that blows my mind. It still blows my mind. But just think about that. Like, that just sounds true to me. Like, my goodness, what is that? But But anyway, there's just a few spiritual understandings. I didn't categorize them. I should probably write this down. I probably will. But I'm just pulling from my mind right now. But I really like to lay things out and have a beginning, middle, and end, and really add value in an easily understandable way. That's it. All right. Just here to add value. Anything I can do in the comments below, just let me know. And if you like what you're hearing, subscribe and like. If you don't like, whatever, just comment. I really don't care. Like, it's okay. You don't have to like me. That's the beauty of this. Understanding, if you will, or an expansion of consciousness. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, much love and light. And we'll see you.